What's going on, YouTube family? It's your man Mo, and in today's video, I want to talk about my 3 times a week full body training plan that I've been running for almost 8 months now at home, with, of course, some revisions over time, but specifically for this journey that I'm on right now of building the best body that I can by the age of 30. And we got 6 months on the clock, y'all, so we're going to make it happen. But before we get into today's topic, I want to address anybody who is new here so you don't feel lost watching these videos and trying to figure out what is this random dude on YouTube doing and what is the whole purpose of this channel. The purpose of this channel is me documenting my journey of one, building the best body that I can by the age of 30, and two, being a motivating force for young men who are working hard, trying to work harder on themselves and want to build the necessary character that they can take into the rest of their lifetime. Now, with introductions out the way, let's get into the structure of this plan. For our day one of this plan, out of the 3 days that we are training full body, day one is my heavy day where I focus primarily on calisthenics. So this is going to be my dips, my pull-ups, and my squats with my dumbbells. And yes, squats, even with weights, are a calisthenics movement. Now, the way that I go about this day, the reason it's my heavy day, is because one, these are primary compound movements. The dips, pull-ups, and squats hit multiple muscle groups. So with that being the case, the movements themselves are difficult because of all the muscles that are being hit all at once. The other reason is because these movements are progressed for higher intensities, meaning I would add weight if a specific movement is doing good in technique, or if I don't want to necessarily add weight, I will focus on technique and slower tempos so that way I can really drive in some intensity, make sure technique is tight while making this day difficult. That is the whole purpose. Now, usually I would work in between the 5 to 10 rep range. And once we get to the top of that rep range, we usually try to match the second set with that top rep range. For example, if I did, let's say 8 reps on dips, and then the second set I only got 5, but we're gonna keep doing those dips with the same weight, all the same technique and tempo until we match it across. And then we either increase the reps for the first set and try to match again, or we bump up the weight. And I usually only bump up the weight once I get to 10. That is my progression method, and that kind of follows suit across, especially to my next day, but we'll talk about that a little later. Another important side note here is that a lot of the movements chosen for this plan are directly tailored into helping aid my labor job. So we're not just doing random movements to make sure that we build in the most muscle that we can, but we're also trying to stay resilient for the physical labor that we have daily. And for the next day up, we have our light day. Now, to be honest with you guys, this originally was my medium day in the middle of the week. But I changed that up because I started to notice a trend where after that Monday, having that heavy session, and usually Mondays are the craziest day at my day job, my energy levels start to dip a bit. So instead of doing a semi heavy day in the middle of the week, I decided to change this into a light day where we are focusing primarily on isolation movements. So, really carving out the details in the muscles. And this day also acts as a bit of active recovery, which is going to help prime us and put us in a better position for the following session, which is going to fall about 2 days after. Again, this day is really focused on detailing work. I also utilize this day to bring up any calisthenics movements with a lighter variation so that way once we revisit them on a heavy day, they are more primed for progression with better technique and more engagement out of those muscle groups following this lighter day. So again, this day is focused on isolation work. I also do some movements in here that is corrective of nature because we are working a manual labor job. So you want to make sure your body is built resilient. And then next up, we have our medium day. Now, this is specifically focused all in on hypertrophy. And me specifically, I like to incorporate dumbbells on this day because I love dumbbells as a tool for working unilaterally, meaning focusing on one side at a time to offset any imbalances. Now, personally, on my journey, I faced a lot of imbalances between my left and right sides, specifically on the upper body, which caused some injuries and caused some things to trickle down the line after years of training. Once I started implementing dumbbells into my routine more consistently and specifically doing unilateral movements, this has helped me iron out a lot of those imbalances that I've accrued over the years. But not only that, this also gives more of a hybrid approach to my training. Yes, we are doing some calisthenics, but we're also implementing some weight training as well to get a more comprehensive training plan all around. We are getting stronger not only with our body weight, but with external load, so that way the body can perform at its highest capacity, especially working a manual job that requires physical labor for hours on end. And of course, I love my weights. I love being able to carve the body out in a specific way, detailed towards me and my goal. So adding some dumbbells in there that allows you to do that specifically the way that you want to, it was almost a no-brainer as an inclusion into the plan. So that's basically it. That is my plan, a heavy, light, medium approach, full body, all done at home with calisthenics and weights mixed in as a hybrid, and focused specifically right now on building a body I can be proud of to take into my 30s while aiding in a more resilient, functional, and prepared body for the labor that I have and that I do on a daily basis. I hope you guys found value out of today's video. And look, stay tuned for more because we got more coming, baby. Peace.